Tommy's phone buzzes. A number he doesn't recognize. He answers anyway. The voice is smooth, low, deliberate. "You're looking in the wrong places, Egan. Power doesn't come from the streets anymore." Tommy's jaw tightens. "Then where the hell does it come from?" Silence. "Then, from the ones who never stopped believing Ghost wasn't done." The line clicks dead. Tommy stares at the screen, smoke curling around him like a ghost's breath. Across town, Tariq sits in his dorm, papers spread across his desk, college assignments mixed with business plans and coded notes. His roommate thinks he's studying economics. He's not. He's studying survival. Every lesson his father taught him was written in blood and silence, and now those lessons are becoming blueprints. He scrolls through messages on his burner phone, meetings, drops, offers. Then one catches his eye. A name he hasn't seen in years, Simon Stern. It simply says, "Let's discuss your father's unfinished investments." Tariq leans back, heartbeat rising. Stern was Ghost's old partner, the kind of man who never moved unless there was something big on the table. If Stern is back, it means the game is changing again. And Tariq knows one thing for sure. In the Power universe, when the old guard returns, blood always follows. Meanwhile, Tommy's not the only one chasing the whisper. Somewhere downtown, Monet Toyota meets with a figure hidden in shadows. Her voice is sharp, but there's tension underneath. "You're telling me Ghost is alive?" The figure doesn't answer, just slides a file across the table. Photos, bank transfers, surveillance shots. Monet flips through them and freezes. The last image shows a reflection in a window too grainy to be proof, but clear enough to shake belief. The silhouette, the posture, it's him? Or it's someone who wants to be him? Either way, it's a problem. The city starts to move differently. Corners that used to be quiet now hum with new players. The old Power network is realigning. Tommy sees old names resurfacing in his contacts, guys who once swore they were done. Tariq starts receiving warnings instead of offers. Even the cops start sniffing around like they've heard something impossible. The streets are waking up, and the heartbeat sounds familiar. Late one night, Tariq gets a call from a blocked number. He answers, voice steady. Nothing but static for a few seconds. Then a whisper, low and certain. "You can't run from blood, son." Tariq freezes. The line dies. He replays the sound in his mind, trying to convince himself it was just a prank, a glitch, a cruel echo. But deep down, he knows better. Ghost's voice had a rhythm you couldn't mistake. Calm, commanding, dangerous. This was that rhythm. At the same hour, Tommy's phone lights up with a message from an encrypted contact. Warehouse 47. One last lesson. He doesn't hesitate. He drives. The roads blur past, the city folding around him like a trap and a memory all at once. When he reaches the warehouse, the door creaks open to reveal nothing but darkness. Then a projector flickers on. A recording Ghost's face, sharp suit, steady gaze. "If you're seeing this, it means the game outlived me. But it also means I outlived the game." Tommy steps closer, fists clenched. Ghost's voice continues. "You can destroy a man, but you can't erase a plan. You'll see what I mean soon enough." The screen fades. Tommy stands there, the silence louder than gunfire. Whatever this is, it's not random. It's orchestrated. Someone's pulling strings from behind the curtain, and the pattern looks a lot like Ghost's signature move. Precise, patient, poetic. Back in his dorm, Tariq opens his window. The night wind hits his face, heavy with the scent of rain and gasoline. He stares out into the city and whispers to himself, "You're not gone, are you?" A flash of headlights sweeps across his face, and for a second, his reflection in the glass looks older, colder, almost like his father's. The legend of Ghost was never just about death or survival, it was about control. And now, as Tommy and Tariq move through the same maze from different ends, the legacy begins to move on its own. Old alliances will rise. New enemies will appear. And somewhere in the unseen corners of this city, a familiar figure is watching it all unfold. Not as a ghost, but as the architect of his own resurrection. rain falls again slow, rhythmic, like the city's heartbeat finding its tempo. The skyline glows under silver clouds, each drop hitting the pavement like a countdown. It's not chaos anymore. It's choreography. Every move, every whisper, every shift in the streets feels calculated, as if the city itself has a script and everyone is just reading their lines. Somewhere between loyalty and revenge, the real war begins, not for money, not for fame, but for legacy. Tommy Egan is back in motion. He's not chasing rumors, now he's chasing proof. A trail of silent players, each one too scared to talk, leads him deeper into a plan that looks too familiar. Ghost used to build his empires like puzzles. Every piece looked random until you saw the full picture. And now Tommy's starting to see the edges again. A rebranded club opening under an old alias. A supply chain matching Ghost's former roots. A set of hidden accounts reactivated under a name no one should be able to access. It's impossible, but Tommy knows Ghost made impossible look easy. He drives to a penthouse that once belonged to Truth and lies the old St. Patrick address. The building's been renovated, the marble clean, the air too expensive to breathe. But Tommy's eyes catch what others wouldn't. The same art piece on the wall, the same piano in the corner, the same ghost of a man who built his kingdom here. He runs his hand across the piano keys, and a single note echoes sharp, lonely, and loaded with memory. In that sound, he hears every conversation they never finished. Every fight. Every brotherhood turned battlefield. Across town, Tariq's empire is growing, but so is his doubt. He's smart, maybe too smart, and that's what scares him. He's closing deals Ghost would have been proud of, clean, corporate, untouchable on paper, but the street whispers no better. Power leaves fingerprints, and his are starting to show. He visits Stern again, but this time the older man looks uneasy. "You think you're running this, Tariq?" Stern says, swirling a glass of scotch. "You're just another player in a plan that started before you were born." Tariq doesn't flinch. He's heard that before from Ghost himself. Later that night, Tariq meets Brayden in an underground parking lot. The air smells like oil and danger. Brayden's shaking, holding a flash drive. "You need to see this, bro. These accounts, they're not yours. They're not even mine. Someone's using your father's name again." Tariq plugs it in. The files open, and what he sees makes his stomach drop. Coded transfers, encrypted emails, timestamps that match his own deals. It's as if someone predicted his every move weeks before he made them. There's only one person who could have done that, Ghost, or someone who learned directly from him. Meanwhile, Tommy gets a call from an old contact in Chicago, a man who swore he'd never get involved again. "Egan, I saw him," the voice says. Not a look-alike. Him, Tommy's knuckles whiten. "You sure?" "As sure as I've ever been." He's not hiding. He's building. The line cuts. Tommy stands still, heart pounding. The impossible is starting to sound believable. He grabs his jacket, loads his gun, and whispers under his breath, "If you're out there, Ghost, I'm coming." The tension spreads like wildfire. Monet hears about it. Kane starts making moves without permission, and the Toyota crew senses a storm coming. Everyone feels it, a power shift, quiet but massive. The kind that flips alliances overnight. The kind that turns kings into ghosts and ghosts into gods. Every old score, every buried secret is clawing its way back to the surface. Then, in a quiet moment, the worlds of father and son collide again. Tariq returns to his dorm, exhausted, the city's noise fading behind him. He drops his keys, turns on the light and freezes. On his desk lies a single envelope. No stamp, no handwriting. Just one word embossed in gold, legacy. Inside, a photograph. Him, Tommy, and Ghost together at Truth nightclub years ago. On the back, a message written in that same precise script. The next chapter isn't about who's left standing. It's about who deserves to stand at all. Tariq's breath catches. The penmanship is unmistakable. He drops the photo as the lights flicker, the city outside roaring with thunder. Somewhere out there, Tommy is getting the same message. The same reminder that ghosts planned whatever it was never ended with a bullet. It evolved. The story of Power Legacy isn't about bringing Ghost back, it's about what happens when his design outlives him. When every player, every choice, every betrayal was part of something bigger. Maybe Ghost didn't survive. Maybe he simply transferred himself into the Empire, into the streets, into the blood of those he touched as lightning slices the sky. Tommy and Tariq move on parallel roads, both hunting the same truth and both haunted by the same man. The city that made them now demands a new king. And as the rain fades to silence, one truth rises above all else. In this world, Ghost isn't gone. He's just waiting for the right moment to step back into the light, because power doesn't die. It reincarnates. And tonight, New York is about to meet its resurrection. What if the city never let Ghost go in tonight? His shadow steps back into the light. Night falls over New York like a heavy coat, and the streets breathe with secrets. Engines hum, subway rails sing, and somewhere a phone rings that no one dares to answer. Power moves in the dark, quiet at first, then loud enough to shake a block. People talk about money, respect, and revenge, but they whisper about one thing most of all: a man who should be gone. A name that still opens doors and starts wars. They say legacies don't die. They only change hands. And if that is true, then the city is waiting, watching, and counting every second until the next move. Tommy rolls through intersections like a storm on wheels, daring the night to push back. Tariq stands still in a mirror, tying a knot he learned from his father, wondering if a clean look can cover a dirty path. These are two roads that were never meant to run apart forever. In this town, blood and loyalty are the only maps that matter, and both lead back to the same ghost. You can feel it in the ear. The small pause before a gunshot, the tiny breath before a lie. Clubs beat like hearts, warehouses glow like dens, and suits and hoodies share the same dream win, no matter the cost. Tommy knows that dream. He chased it through fire and snow, through love and madness, through friendship and betrayal. Some nights, he laughs through the pain. Other nights, he lets the pain talk for him. He trusts the engine, the steel, the rhythm in his chest that says go. But under that roar is a question he never outran. What if the one person who made him better and worse at the same time is not a memory after all? Tariq knows that question too. He learned to move like smoke, to speak like a contract, to smile like a promise. He tries to balance school and streets, future and past, but the scale keeps tipping. He wants a life that is his, yet every door he opens looks like one his father once held. When people see him, they see the face of a boy and the echo of a king, and the echo is louder. Rumors crawl up stairwells and slide down alleys. Someone at a bar swears they heard a voice that sounded too familiar to be safe. A photographer catches a blur in a window above a dark car. A banker moves money that should not exist under an account that feels like a ghost story with numbers. None of it is proof, but proof is not what scares people. Hints do, patterns do. The way old enemies start calling old friends. The way a plan from years ago suddenly looks fresh, as if it was waiting for the city to blink. In this pulse, Tommy and Tariq are not just names. They are magnets, pulling grief and hope, drawing allies who smell opportunity and rivals who taste blood. If Ghost ever meant control, then the loss of him was chaos. And chaos, once it learns how to live here, refuses to leave. So picture it. A rain-specked street, a door cracked open, a voice that says nothing but makes your heart jump. The past does not knock. It lets itself in. Maybe it shows up as a message that only one man would write. Maybe it sits in the back row of a funeral for a man who is not its own. Maybe it is a silence that feels like a hand on your shoulder. Tommy reads rooms like maps and can tell when the air changes. Tariq reads faces like codes and knows when a smile hides a blade. Both of them feel the shift, the cold rush that says a move is being made above their heads, beyond their reach, inside their story. A legacy is not a memory lane. It is a living thing that chooses its next host. And tonight, It might choose both of them. The city does not care about truth. It cares about power. Truth is a rumor that sleeps. Power is a rumor that wakes up. Deals are written in whispers and paid in silence. If Ghost learned anything, it was that a clean suit can walk through dirty rooms without getting caught until it does. If he taught anything, it was that family is not a shield. It is a compass, and it points to the hardest choices. Tommy feels the compass pulling him back to a line he once swore he would not cross again. Tariq feels it pulling him toward a future that looks too much like a mirror of the past. And somewhere between them, in the quiet corner of this loud city, footsteps that sound like history head toward the door. The story does not restart. It levels up. The night leans in. The streets lean closer. The legacy INHALES. Morning breaks. But it feels wrong to still, to gray, like the city itself is holding its breath. New York never sleeps, yet this morning, it wakes uneasy. The streets shine wet from the night's rain, and every reflection looks doubled, as if the world is haunted by its own memory. The word ghost is spreading again, whispered through back rooms, group chats, and late-night calls. No one says his full name, they don't have to. The sound alone carries weight, enough to stop a deal or start one. And for Tommy, that weight feels familiar, like an old jacket he thought he burned. He sits in his car, engine idling, staring at a warehouse he once owned. It's boarded up now, but ghosts don't need doors. Inside that building, he buried more than money. He buried trust, brotherhood, the only man who ever made him feel like family meant something beyond blood. Yet, there's a hum in the air, a vibration under the tires that tells him the story isn't finished. Tommy's hands tighten on the wheel. He doesn't talk to the dead, but sometimes he drives as if one is riding shotgun. Across town, Tariq stands in a lecture hall, dressed sharp, voice calm. But his mind is somewhere else. His professor is talking about legacy the mark people leave when they're gone. The word cuts deeper than it should. Tariq's trying to build his own, one clean deal, one smart move at a time. But every step forward drags a shadow behind him, a name that won't fade. He sees it in people's eyes when they look at him, James St. Patrick's son. Ghost's blood. The boy who betrayed his father, but somehow still carries his fire. He tells himself he's different. But sometimes when he catches his reflection, he can't tell. That afternoon, Tommy and Tariq meet by accident, or maybe fate is behind the wheel. A quiet diner off the highway, empty except for a cook with tired eyes. No words at first, just the sound of coffee pouring and memories neither of them asked for. The air between them is thick with everything they've lost. Tommy looks at Tariq like a puzzle he doesn't want to solve. Tariq looks back with the same mix of fear and pride that once defined his father. Finally, Tommy breaks the silence. You hear what they're saying. Tariq nods. Ghost? The word hangs there heavy, almost alive. Neither of them admits what they're thinking, but both of them know. You can't kill a man like Ghost, not when his empire still breathes. Whispers turn into movement. Old contacts start calling, old debts start collecting. A familiar pattern is forming in the underworld, money shifting through old channels, operations restarting under new names. It's too smart, too organized, too ghost-like to be coincidence. Some say it's a copycat. Others swear they've seen him. No one agrees, but everyone's afraid. That's how power works. It doesn't have to be proven. It just has to be felt. As night falls again, Tommy drives back through Queens, windows down, city lights flickering past. His instincts tell him something is coming, something that smells like the past but moves like the future. Tariq, meanwhile, opens an anonymous text on his phone. You can't outrun what you inherited. No number. No name, just those words. He stares at them for a long time before locking the screen, but the message burns in his head. In another part of the city, a black car slides into an alley. A man steps out, tall, calm, wearing a tailored coat. He doesn't speak, doesn't rush. He walks like someone who's been here before, who knows every corner by memory. The driver asks quietly, "Where to, boss?" The man pauses, turns toward the skyline, and for a split second, the light catches his face. Not clear enough to see but enough to feel. A scar, a smirk, or maybe just the ghost of both. And that's how it starts, not with a gunshot or a body drop, but with a whisper that grows into a storm. Every empire leaves something behind. Sometimes it's money. Sometimes it's enemies. But the most dangerous thing to inherit is unfinished business. Tommy can feel it creeping back, and Tariq can feel it rising inside him. Maybe Ghost isn't walking the streets again. Maybe his legacy is. And in this city, that might be worse. The camera of fate pans wide, the skyline glowing like a heartbeat, thunder rolling low, as if the heavens themselves are waiting for the next move. Power doesn't rest. It waits for the right moment to wake up. And that moment is now. The city changes at night. It's not just darker, it's different, sharper, alive in a way daylight can't control. Neon lights blink like secrets in code, and every alley hums with unfinished stories. Somewhere between the high towers and broken corners, power is being rebuilt. Not by politicians or cops, but by ghosts real or imagined who refuse to stay buried. The streets of New York have always belonged to those who dare to take them. And tonight, someone is taking them back. Tommy stands on a rooftop, cigarette burning low between his fingers, eyes locked on the skyline. From up here, the city looks calm. But Tommy knows calm is a lie. He's been in too many wars to believe in peace. Every flicker of light is a deal. Every siren a message. Somewhere out there, Tariq is moving too, chasing the same pulse for different reasons. Tommy's world runs on instinct. Tariq's runs on strategy. But both worlds are circling the same center: one man, one name, one impossible return.